So we can't really attain the purpose as deeply and truly if we're not sincere, all of us, in it. This is what makes so much of the professional world's incoherence in a very deep way, even though people might get along, because there are so many cross purposes happening in any professional environments. Some people are there to make money. Other people are there to advance their status. Other people are there because they genuinely believe in the mission of the company. Other people are there because they just need something to do and want to connect with others. And so what most organizations do or groups do is they just find a working truce that balances all these different needs to achieve a certain outcome. And then because there's incoherence at this very deep level, you have to rely on some kind of power to enforce this shared commitment. But how many of us go into a work environment and are able to say, I give my full self to the purpose of this organization and work with others who are also giving their full selves to the purpose of an organization? Maybe if we get to experience that once in our lives, it's a miracle. Most of the time, it's all kinds of cross purposes, even if there is a named shared purpose. So by contrast, how good does it feel in those experiences we had where everyone is truly committed to the same thing, truly committed to the same thing, truly and sincerely committed? It can be some of the more beautiful experiences of our lives, I think. Any questions or comments about that? Sincere commitment to a shared purpose.
Jamie, go ahead.
Making me think about how some of my best group experiences have been around creation and how creating something, like for example, my freshman year of college, there's a 48-hour movie contest. You have to make a whole movie in 48 hours. And just that experience of creating something was such a great group experience. And so there's in that creation process is a very clear shared purpose of why we're here.
What do you think made it feel so great? Or share any of the greatness with us so we can feel it if you can.
Yeah, just the excitement of just first of all brainstorming a story and the creativity of that together, and then actually putting it into action, and just the silliness of we're not that serious about it. We weren't it wasn't there was a lot on the line. It was just a bunch of friends coming together. I don't remember that much specifically about it, but just recall it being a good time and a lot of group cohesiveness.
Thanks. That brainstorming moment is like a perfect example of the greater intelligence moving through a group when there's a sincere commitment to a shared purpose. Thanks, Jamie.
Darren.
Yeah, hi. I've got, I came up with 3 examples. One of them, thanks to what Jamie just said, I came up with another one. But when I was about, gosh, I guess from age of about 9 to about 15, I was on some Pop Warner type football teams that we were undefeated year after year. Whatever team we were on, we were undefeated again and again. And so there's something to success. There certainly is a part of success. I mean, we worked hard. We won a lot of games. There was a lot of celebration. That was great. Another example is that I worked at a company that started as a startup and did amazingly well. What helped was that, there was a lot of stock options shared. A lot of people made a lot of money. But there was the success of just seeing the sales numbers grow, the company grow, the hiring that went on. The third example is related to what Jamie just said. I was in a band. We never once performed in public. All we did was sit in a garage and create original music and post it on the internet. We never made any money off of it, but it was that whole thing of just, three guys getting together and just coming up with an idea for a song and just pounding it out really fast. Didn't spend a lot of time. We did a lot of songs and just posted them. And that was great fun. There was a lot of just three guys working together, just having a blast on, a Saturday night or something every week. On Saturday, we get together. So I think those are really good experiences of coherence where, and the third one, the band one, there really wasn't any success other than we liked the music we created. We thought it was fun to do, and we liked what the results that came out of it. Didn't really have any accolades. We didn't sell any records or anything like that, but it was fun.
Thanks, Darren. In your share and in Jamie's share, I noticed, and I want to invite us all to notice this sense of excitement in both of you, and this feeling of just participating fully in something bigger than you that you believe in. Like, how good does it feel to participate fully in something you believe in that is bigger than you? Even as I say it, I can feel the joy of that. And that comes through in your examples, Darren, and in the movie you were talking about, Jamie. Yeah. And I go even further too. It's like you can almost feel, I think I can feel the creative pull of those things, or that greater spirit. Like, I can almost feel what is drawing us toward it. It's hard to put into words, but that collective intelligence or that higher intelligence that's moving through these stories. All right. I've got one more small principle, which is really a subset of everything I've shared before. And then I'm going to preface the biggest one and not cover it because it's too deep, and we'll go to it next time, I think. The simple one almost could have gone without saying, but I'll say it. We need, for group coherence, a shared language or a genuine intention for a shared language. So even if you have everything else going on, you have shared commitment to a sincere commitment to a shared purpose, you have a shared understanding, acceptance of the ground rules, you have a protected and safe environment for the experience at hand, but in the 5 people that are there are 4 different languages spoken and no common one, it's going to be extremely hard to find coherence. That's an extreme example, but subtler examples happen all the time, including, we could say, at the very beginning of this session, where Ben and I were both using the word coherence to mean, with good intentions in both of our cases, maybe subtly different things. And so until I was able to clarify that distinction, it was confusing and murky, and the group couldn't settle into what either one of us is saying until we got clear on the distinction. This happens all the time in perfectly well-intentioned group environments where somebody says something and another person hears something completely different. And now there's a whole misunderstanding that's nobody's fault. And this runs rampant in areas where jargon is at play. Sometimes we get stuck in communicating in our own way and we lose track of how people understand us or don't. So one thing that really helps, if there isn't a shared language, even if there's all the other good stuff, one thing that really helps is if somebody there is up for translating. Somebody there is holding the intention of coherence, or there's just such goodwill in the group that people really genuinely want to figure out how to communicate in a shared language. So I'll pause there and we'll take that in. Anyone have any questions or comments about this requirement of a shared language? All right.
Ben, go ahead.
I just wanted to also mention that as a collective in our society, we have shared language, and I think a lot of different actors are aware of this principle, and this is probably why it's difficult to communicate as a collective nation now, because there are different factions that are creating their own shared languages. So when they go to speak with each other, they're using words that have completely different definitions to each party. And so yeah, I like the idea of having the translator or like the goodwill to try and understand the definitions and then restore that common language.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. That jumping off that point, sometimes there's a shared definition or denotation of a word, but the weight of the word or the implication of the word is such that even if you had two people in trying to communicate well, the words are so charged that they actually are not shared language. So imagine if you had somebody who is open-hearted and pro-choice, but really genuinely wanting to understand somebody who sees the world differently. And now imagine you have somebody who's very open-hearted and pro-life, but really wanting to understand the other person's perspective. Two people of genuine intentions and beliefs meeting, and one of them uses the word the unborn. And all of a sudden, we know what they mean, but the implication is such that it's very hard actually to communicate, because the word unborn has with it so many political implications that you can't even take out of it. So I think so much of our communication is using words like this as kind of weapons. You're using something with a particular meaning, but there's so much emotion around it that you're actually trying to prevent open communication, prevent coherence between groups.
Marie.
Just backing out a little bit from it all, what I feel is that this intelligence likes to have fun and likes laughter. And I really sense that in your last example just now. That might be difficult, but I think if people can, even before they start the conversation that is difficult, if there is some little something that can happen to produce that little laughter or that little sense of play, makes a big difference, because what I feel is that opens up the heart. We laugh, we have fun. Humans are one of the few critters that really laugh. So if we can call in that energy, even in very serious discussions, I just feel like it brings in coherence somehow. Or it
I like
could.
that. I'm gonna come back to that in my last section here. Thank you, Marie.
Jamie.
Just to give an example of that, if I may share from last night, David, when we had the up here in upstate New York that David facilitated, the very said, "I'm really hot," and then Onion said, "Yeah, you are," and that like
Well, I
laugh
missed
came
that.
out of
Say
the audience.
you had
I
a-
felt oh, did I cut out?
Yeah, or I either you cut out or I cut out, but say the last two sentences again if you could.
Okay, so David started the event just saying, "I'm really hot," and someone in the audience says, "Yeah, you are," and that, and then there was that laughter. It's just exactly what Maria was talking about, that laughter, and then that coherence that came with like having that shared experience and little bit of open. I felt like it was definitely like a nice way to start the evening.
For everyone else. No, it was good. It was good. That was a good sport. All right. Well, I have two other incredibly complex, multi-layered principles, or more like subject headings, that I'm just going to offer as teasers for next week. Apparently, coherence is one of those subjects, like needs, which I did about a year ago, that just requires me to go back over and over and over again until it clicks. I was very pleased with what we worked through today. It feels like these 4 principles that I laid out felt true and meaningful and helpful. I would say they are all necessary, but they are not sufficient, or that there are other things going on that I want to make explicit. The first other thing going on that is maybe implicit in everything that I've said, and I want to make explicit now, and then make lots more explicit and detailed later, is the absolute centrality of trust. For deep coherence, we need real trust. And there are 2 kinds of trust that we need. We need to trust first in the other people of the group, and we need to trust in the group as a whole. So one is at the interpersonal level. I trust Jerry's intention here as he sits in this circle. I trust he wants to be here like he says. I trust his heart. I trust him to be a member of this circle. I obviously do. I'm speaking coherently. And that is the kind of trust that allows for coherence among a group. And then there's another kind of trust, which is I trust this group to do what it is we're here to do. So maybe I trust all the members of my team, but I actually don't trust that this team can get it done. I trust your intention. I trust your heart. I trust you say what you mean, but I don't trust us. I don't trust this group. I've been in situations like that. I look around and I go, I trust everybody here, and I don't trust us together. We don't have what it takes. So then I distrust. We're not going to talk about what it takes to trust each other and trust a group here today. I'm just naming it. And we're going to go into it further later because it's super complex and messy. And then even more complex and messy. And this is what I was hoping to really talk about, but it's going to have to get delayed. This is the hardest one. It's one mishmash of a phrase. Clarity, integrity, and flexibility about what is included and excluded, and who is included and excluded. Clarity, integrity, and flexibility about what is included and excluded, and who is included and excluded. In my experience, nothing has so systematically broken up coherence in the groups that I have been a part of than the question of who we are including and who we are excluding, why we are including them, why we are excluding them. That is the thorniest subject. So it also applies to the individual. what aspects of ourselves are included, what aspects of ourselves are not welcome. Sometimes things need to be not welcome, and that's okay if there is clarity and integrity around it. So we'll talk about that too. So that's just a preview of coming attractions: trust and inclusion exclusion, and the two are obviously related. Did we lose somebody? I'm noticing a missing square. Who did we lose?
Eve.
Eve. Bye, Eve. I'm sorry to see you go. It is